And we've got Jess back on the platform. We got 3 points yesterday. We got a lot to discuss. But before all of that, big up the chat. How you doing, Jess?
I'm good. I can't complain. How about you?
I'm all right, man. There, man. We got 3 points. I'm happy as Larry. And we'll get on to certain individuals, but you know what my guys doing it. You know what they do. You know he's winning
I
the World Cup.
see you're gonna be shameless. That's
I'm not shameless. I mean, 5 out of 5 in the Champions League for Martinelli, big game player. Gabriel Jesus is there. The stars are aligning. Brazil
yeah.
2026 World Cup winners, Arsenal Premier League and champs winners. We hope, we pray, and we move.
Yeah. Well, we shall see. But yeah, it was nice to see a professional performance yesterday, I would say. And then Jesus coming back, he looked up for it. We're gonna need absolutely everybody to get it over the line. It meaning a big trophy, if not one, maybe even two. So happy to see anybody coming back, to be honest.
We can't, like you said there, man, we need everybody back. We need everyone fit. I personally feel, obviously, yesterday means our optimism's a bit higher, but we're in this little weird mix where like half of our players need rest, half need minutes. You mesh that together. We're never going to be at optimal performance, but life and football doesn't care about that. As you refer to, we've got a job to do. We need to be grabbing 3 points. Before we get into the obvious, and obviously, you know, Club Brugge and Wolves and things, just prior to the game, yeah, what have you made of the recent run? Because it's been a minute since we've done these videos. Like, what have you made of our recent kind of run of form and everything in between? So like Chelsea, Munich, all that kind of stuff.
I was it's weird because when it was just Tottenham, Bayern, and Chelsea, I was like, okay, out of those 3 games, like the death week, we have done well. We had 2 wins, 2 really good performances, and then 1 not so great performance, but we held on for the draw and we could move on. Then we had Brentford, and then we turned around and had the poor performance against Aston Villa, or whatever you want to call it, poor whatever. And then I think that skews the way that I'm thinking about the way that this run is gone, because ultimately you expect to beat Tottenham at home. Bayern, this game, as much as I feel like I would have hoped for that to have been like a mental token of some sort, like, okay, we beat a really big team that we don't usually beat, whatever. It really doesn't mean anything in the grand scheme because it's the league phase of the Champions League. And then we had the Chelsea run, the Chelsea, Brentford, Aston Villa. And so in there, now you start to see a clearer picture, I feel, where it's like, it's not terrible. We only lost 1 game in that span, but we dropped points in 2 games. Both were away. And in both of those games, I felt like they wanted it more. And I can't understand why. Why does it feel like those 2 teams wanted it more than the team that's top of the table and is in a good position to push to win the league? And so I feel like where I was okay after the Chelsea game, now I'm feeling a little bit more concerned about the amount of injuries and how we can't seem to play our best 11 or close to it in these big games. But our away record against the big teams are not great. And how are we going to turn that around? Is the biggest game that's going to come up probably at the back end of this season is, if we're still pushing, it's going to be that game at the Etihad. And so we can't have they want it mores type of things. So I'm feeling a little bit less happy now after the Villa game, if that makes sense. But we're still in a good position. I don't get it. I don't know where you kind of stand on it, but I don't understand why in those games I felt like the other team wanted it and were more hungry. And I can't understand why we weren't the more hungry team, and why our away performances against big teams feel so like lack energy and fight. Like, I don't want to say fight, that's harsh, but they lack the energy and intensity that I feel like is required.
What do you make of our away form in general then this season? Because that's something I have had concerns. I know you can't win them all and things of that ilk, but I just feel when it's all said and done, of course there's some factors, but Aston Villa away, we never got the result. Sunderland, yeah, they're in form, etc. But many Arsenal fans would say we're the best defensive side in Europe or the Premier League. So when you're 15 minutes away and you don't come home with obviously the 3 points, then there's issues. obviously, if I go all the way back even to August, if I'm honest with you, of course, start of the season tax, and we're happy with the result, not the performance. But you throw in Man United, like, have you been concerned with us on the road full stop this year? Or
Yeah, I think at one point I think we were like, we had the best away record behind like Tottenham or something like that.
a shout to us
But
for Newcastle as well for what it's worth. But yeah,
yeah, but you can look at a record, because that's often what we do is we look at the overall record and we're like, well, it's not a bad record. But individually, you can look at some of these performances and find reasons why they're concerning, despite having a decent record, because we don't always play the big teams. If we play not as good teams, we're going to win those games, like, and that's fine. But for me, like you said, United, that was a poor performance, even though we won. Liverpool didn't really come out to play.
yeah, I think
You know?
Arteta cost us in the Anfield game. I've said that many a time.
Yeah, it's
Chelsea a shit show. You know what? I was more pissed
Chelsea
off
was
against
bad.
Chelsea than Aston Villa, if I'm honest. Aston Villa, I'm actually a lot more sympathetic for my players. Don't get it twisted. I understand all of the factors, and I think we're in that. You touched on it lightly, in that we're in that kind of weird mix, in that we know we can't win every game. You're not gonna have 100% record, and I credit to the boys and Arteta. There's been injuries. We've shown, when we play at our best, we can win. We've done the smash and grab thing, so we're in a good space. We've had a difficult run. Everybody can say at some point they've got a difficult run, and we're still kind of keeping alive. But then when you isolate things, granted, there's several other factors as to why we had the playing squad we did. I think there was a lot more to give against Chelsea. Like, I actually think Chelsea was a shit show. Aston Villa, very naive. It hurts to lose it at the end. I think our players were down, just down to their bare bones. So I put that on the players and the gaffer. And then Sunderland, I keep referring it to it because I think it was a big chance. So it's kind of a mixed bag. Brentford, we obviously got the job done. Yesterday, we got the job done. It's weird though. So, like, why have we kind of fallen into this kind of, I don't want to say mess, but why do we find ourselves in this territory? Is it injuries and the knock-on effect of such for you?
I'm trying to understand whether or not I feel like these are missed opportunities to create a bigger gap,
Probably
or
are in hindsight. We'll
it's
look
the
back in there if
reality.
we don't do what needs to be done.
Yeah, or is it the case that we're coming up against better sides and it's not like our opportunity to get that gap is coming against like Wolves or Everton. It's coming up against a better side. So am I rationalizing it by saying like, yeah, but those are difficult teams to play and we were away from home? Or do I need to maybe put more pressure on the team to like live up to that and to take that advantage? Because they have done it one time where City dropped points and then we turned around and beat Spurs after. That was like a big like moment, but we were at home against a shittier side, so I don't really know, but I do think that injuries do take a toll. I think where I think the struggle with the injury conversation is that we went into the season saying we have all this great depth, but ultimately when we play
And we're in the
teams,
same position. More players,
yeah,
same. I don't know what's going on.
well, we'd be in the position that we were in last season had we had not, if Berta and whoever else had not
It'd have
gone
been
out
dark.
there and did a great job. So essentially, we're in the exact same position from we're getting so many injuries. We just happen to have better quality depth. Now it's being tested and we're dropping points, and we just playing against like Chelsea, where it's a cup final for them, a Villa, where it's a cup final for them, a Sunderland,
Chelsea
where
won
they're
the way their fans were
playing out of
walking
their
about that. They
it
won that game.
100%. That's where I kind of feel like, I want to see us persevere over these things, but I can understand that we were tore up. Like the back was looking no, and this is like no offense to Hincapié and Mascaras and players like that, but it's just not the same. So I don't know. I think they're kind of missed opportunities, and I don't know. You got to get a little bit of luck. We're not really getting that luck, so we'll see. But we have like a good run coming up to get players minutes and get players rest, because these are the winnable fixtures before we have to play Aston Villa again. So that's what I kind of want us to settle the ship a little bit right now. We know we're going to be in the final, the 8 that go through for the Champions League. We can kind of chill on that and rotate a little bit more.
We got Inter in January the next time. I don't know if Arteta's going to go for the risk for rest in that game.
Here's my thing, though. I feel like I get it that we want to make a statement all the time, but we don't make statements at the right time. I feel like the statements that we needed to make, we did not make them. The Bayern statement means so much less now.
To be fair, last
Because
year by me, Real Madrid apologies. That's harsh. That's
not
harsh. Yes, I make you right, but I'm checking myself even because I actually agree with you. Are we not being a bit harsh? A bit harsh.
listen, I'm just saying that, like, at the end of the day, had you had chosen the 2 games that we would have won in that 3-game period, it would have been the 2 Prem games. We could have suffered a Bayern draw or something like that. We could have suffered it. Nobody's
I
thinking
hear
about
it. No,
that
I
Bayern
hear it.
win.
I
Nobody's
hear it.
thinking about it. But it's harsh in the way where I know that you can't pick and choose. I'm just saying that, like, now that we know, we can still put out strong lineups, but I think we can also look at the Premier League a little bit more and say, how can we be as strong as we can there and also be strong in the Champions League without we don't need to make a statement against Inter. We don't. Rotate.
But we do need to be competitive.
We do need to be competitive, but we can be competitive without, like, risking somebody that we know we're going to need in a Prem game. That's
Wrap
all I'm
people
saying.
in cotton wool. You said winnable games, yeah. I know what
Mhm.
you mean, yeah. But for the benefit of someone that might not, like, where are these winnable games for you? Obviously, I'll help you. We're not even that you need help, but we both are probably in alignment. If we don't beat Wolves, it's crash out settings. Like, come on, Arsenal. Like, you need to move to them. Like, freeze and obviously 3 points first, but I need to see 3 points, bare goals, complete domination, feel good factor, people getting hooked at halftime because it's a write-off. Cricket score, like, I'm exaggerating, but Wolves need to hold 7, if I'm honest with you. Gyökeres, I need a hat trick, etc. But, like, what would you say? So Wolves is 1, obviously. Maybe you
Yeah.
disagree with Wolves.
No, I think Wolves are the worst team in the league.
100%.
So we're at fucking home. Like, I'm sorry. It's gotta be a 6. It's gotta be nasty. You know, it really does. And it's an opportunity for, if Declan is not up, sit him. Saka, get him some rest, whatever. Just do
I
it.
can't lie, full strength against Wolves. I'll be real, full strength.
I don't think so. I think
You don't want to
we
go
need-
full strength. We need these 3 points, 2-point gap.
Yeah, but we're at home and we're gonna get the 3 points. We're going to get them.
We
Like,
got to earn the right to win it, though, and I don't know.
no, I hear that. I just feel like, do you not think that, like, how much better do you think Club Brugge is than Wolves? I feel like Club Brugge might be a better team than
No,
Wolves.
I make you right with that. You're spitting facts. I
You see what
don't
I'm
disagree
saying?
with that. It's just the fact that, like, we're 2 points clear. As much as I think we could go out there with the strongest team or a rotated side, respectfully to Wolves, if there's any Wolves fans listening, we should be beating you lot up. But we've almost got first world problems. We're talking about winning titles and crying about not beating informed sides. These men are fighting for their lives. Obviously, we've got 2 points. I want my 3 points. And then obviously, you mentioned missed opportunities, yeah. And whether we're being harsh or not, maybe if we won against Sunderland away and City at home and Liverpool away and this one and that one, or even 2 of those, I might be a bit more reluctant. But I just want my 3 points, man. Like, I need those 3 points. So I'm gonna go with the strongest team, though. But you're right, you can rotate.
I
What
think
would your 11 be?
honestly, I'm trying to get as many people minutes as possible that need it. You know, I'm thinking keep Madueke on, maybe start with
So
Gyökeres
Madueke on the right.
on the right. Yeah, Madueke
Yeah,
on the
Gyökeres
right.
through the middle.
Start with Gyökeres, and then if we're winning and all that kind of stuff, 60 minutes, take him off, get Jesus on left. Then it just depends, but it could be Eze, it could be Martinelli. It doesn't really matter to me. But I think Eze needs some rest. Start Odegaard, start Zubi, start someone else in that midfield. I know we
Zubi looks
don't
spent as
love
well, man.
he does, but I mean, this is the situation that we're in right now.
If needs
Declan
must,
is
yeah.
probably the most, like, concerning. We need him back. Like, so Zubi might have to just, you know, whatever, play Marino in midfield. I know we don't like it, but, like, what are the other options? Do you know what I mean?
None.
You know you're gonna have to play Miles, so that's just Calafiori is out. This is a great game for Calafiori to be out. To be honest, it's fortuitous at home against the worst team. Hincapié, who do we really have for right center back? Like, what's really going on with Timber?
You're gonna go with Norgard?
I
Or you
guess
gonna
so.
go with Ben White and or Timber, like one of the three?
Well, where is Timber? Like, what happened to him? Like, what's going on? Do you
I think
know?
Arteta's lying a bit, man. I just think he rested Rice and Timber. Now, I don't know. We're gonna have to wait until tomorrow in the press conference. But when you're telling me Rice is ill and he hasn't traveled, that's just
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like when you call him for work and you say I got diarrhea, I can't come in. There's no way of proving it. Timber, I think, you know what, Timber, there might be something in that, you know. And I think he said Calafiori had a knock. But that's the annoying thing just with Arteta in that you never know. He could
You
be
never
making
know.
this all up. He could be
Saliba's
downplaying
meant
it.
to have been back for like he's
Yeah, he keeps telling us that, like, oh, a couple weeks,
yeah,
couple weeks. He's back soon. He's back soon. And on one hand, I want these guys back when they're actually fit. But this
yeah.
is what I keep saying on my channel. I'm not dealing with nothing until the match day comes. Whoever's on the bench, who's in the 11, that's where my thoughts are, not all the other stuff, because you just don't know.
Yeah. So maybe like let's say, yeah, let's just assume, let's be positive that Timber will be back. So I would play him right-sided center back, play Ben White. I think he's looked pretty good so far coming back. And then Ryan, just go about your business. You know, I don't know. You know, that's all you can really do at this stage.
Everybody forgive me, but if we're playing Wolves on the weekend, which we are, David Raya, you're going in goal. Benjamin White or Timber, you lot sort it out who wants to go centre half or right back. You know what, White, I'm gonna go with you at centre half. Timber, go right back in. Capia, you're in. Lewis Skelly, you're in. I don't know if I said Raya, but I'll mention Raya again. Rice, Zubamendi. You know what, F it, man. Do you know what? I actually think that this can work, but Villa weren't the one for it. Martin Odegaard, Eze, he took a bit of a break against Club Brugge. Or you could go Martinelli. Really and truly, I don't really care. Where's Trossard, by the way? But let's just go Eze, Odegaard, Saka, GYOKERES. I want my 3 points, man. I want my strongest team out there. Go. Saka, bro. Saka, you're
Why?
going out there. Saka, you're going out there. Saka, you're going out there. You got a little rest. You're going out there. You need to score some goals. I want my 3. Just, I don't think you understand. I want my 3 points. I am going to crash out if we do not beat Wolves.
I know,
Because I
but
don't want to hear nothing about where fans go. Because
yeah,
obviously,
but if we don't beat Wolves, even with the lineup that I said, that don't have anything to do with putting in a rotated lineup. That's just because
everyone
the
has
guys
to get
weren't on
reps.
it. That's just because they weren't on it. Like, realistically, we should be able to rotate against Wolves at home and
You're right. You're
utilize,
not
like,
wrong.
we are so, like, once we get beyond there and we play Villa again, Bournemouth away, like, there's not going to be any time for this. We have to take this with all the injuries that we've had and the fact that, like, we're not going to get this opportunity again. We have to take it.
We
Sorry.
lost the Villa. I want my reaction, man. You're not right. You're not wrong. Like, it don't matter what team goes out there, but if you put a gun to my head and I'm screaming it's a must win. Yes, Arsenal versus Wolves. It's not the biggest game on the calendar, but in terms of the points gap, in terms of wanting to react, I'm going. If you put a gun to my head, I have to go with my strongest team. You lot go out there, do the job. You can all get. We got 5 subs. You can all get hooked, really, and we need to build momentum again. You do that, you get hooked in at halftime or the hour mark. We've got a week to go until Everton away, which goes back to what you're saying, to be fair, in that, you know, you can rotate. If you get the 3 points against Wolves, obviously you got a bit of rest going into Everton. Everton makes me a bit nervy. Is Everton one of these winnable games that you mentioned?
I'm sorry.
I'm nervous about
at
that.
this stage, we need to be feeling confident we're going to beat Everton.
I'm scared, man.
I'm actually tired of these Everton games looking scary for us. Like, I get it that it's not an easy game. There's no easy game in the Premier League, but realistically, we should be beating Everton home and away. I'm over it now.
Do you think he'll rest players? Because obviously 3 days later you got a quarterfinals.
No, but see, this goes back to Wolves. That's the game to rest people so that you can put your strongest 11 up against Everton. Then you have another opportunity against Crystal Palace to, I know people are not going to want to hear this. I'm not saying throw it. I'm just saying that's another opportunity. Get some other people out there.
I think that's where Arteta rotates and does everything. In my honest to God, I think you see a semi-strong lineup here. You have no choice but to go with the strongest 11 Everton away. I think everyone knows that. I think I know what you're saying, and I agree. I'm not saying he's fluking it or throwing it. I think that's where you might, depending on who's available, a rest or rotation or a free hit kind of thing. I know fans want trophies. I do too. So I want us to take it seriously. But, boy, you know what? F it, man. We can beat Everton. We can win that quarterfinal game. I am a bit nervous about Brighton at home. And I hate losing to their manager. I think he's a bit too smug, man. He ain't done nothing to me. But I just don't like, there's something about you I don't like. No, that's it. When I went to the press conference at the start of last season, actually, and Declan Rice got sent off, do you know how smug he was
Yeah, he's a
talking?
dick. Yeah, he's an
He was
asshole.
talking like he did some Pep
Yeah,
Guardiola masterclass against us. He thinks
yeah.
he's mad sick at management, which he is. But yeah, humble pie for you.
We also have like not a lot, but we have quite a few home games, which I feel like we've had quite a few away games recently, hard
Been on
away
the road a
games.
lot, man.
So this is a good opportunity. But one thing that I think for sure is while we have these defensive injuries, which I do think we're going to continue to have for probably the next couple of weeks, I don't
Why
know
do you think that?
we don't know when Big Gabby is coming back. There's they're very whatever shadowy about
Yeah, you're
Saliba.
starting to make me nervous, man.
Yeah. All I'm going to say about this is the time where we're going to need those attacking players to kind of step up because the defenders are not going to, I'm not saying that they've been saving them, but I mean, we went through the first like 10 games conceding like one goal or some shit. You know, we
And
went
these
through
same
15
defenders
minutes
would
of
probably chip in from time to time
they're
as well.
chipping in with goals. Calafiori had quite like a goal or two or whatever. Timber, Gabrielle, like we're gonna need them to carry. Like I think what I struggle with is when we get into games where like our back line was tore up. You know, we had Timber in center back with Hincapié. We had Mascara and Hincapié. Like these players haven't really played together. They're not really the
And you
main
saw
guy.
it Villa away. First time
Yeah,
it actually looked like that. Timber's doing his own thing. Hincapié is doing
and
his
then
own thing. Not that I'm just blaming them, but like,
yeah,
yeah, there's no relationships there.
and in both of those games, they scored one goal. One goal. That's
True.
it. You know, and I'm like, y'all need to, there has to be games every once in a while where they score 2 and we score 3. You know, there has to, at some stage, we need to get to that point. And there's only like 2 players that I really trust to come up with big goals at times.
Martinelli.
This
You
season,
said big goals. You said, did you mean Martinelli?
Martinelli is on there, but it's really Trossard and Marino. I think those are the 2 players
Yeah, I'm
this
being
season
shameless.
so
You're
far
right. Still.
that have come up with really
Sacks as
like
well, but them two.
Marino and Trossard have come up with the biggest goals this season so far. I'm just gonna keep it a buck. I still think we're waiting on Saka to really get
Oh,
going.
he set up Marino against Chelsea, no?
He did, but he also was given the ball a lot, and I think he was pretty poor with the things like with the balls that he got. Like I'm not gonna lie, in that game, I felt like where of course he set up a goal, you give him credit. When you're giving that player 6, 7, 8, 9, you're giving him the ball and he's getting into positions, he's hitting it into the stands, they're overhit.
Chelsea was frustrating. I don't know
Yeah,
who
at a
he got
certain
into him, but
point,
he just
it's like,
shooting from everywhere.
and you're the guy. That's the thing about Saka is like, I feel like the remit for him is not the same remit that we would have for Trossard, where it's like you kind of
He's
expect
dying by his standards.
yeah, it's like the standards are so much higher. So at some point, the attackers are going to have to carry a defense that's pretty much carried them for like 2 years, in my opinion. You know, I
And
really
all
think
this season, shout out to, as you said, Marino, but I would say like Trossard, you know, Eze obviously bagged a hat trick and Saka scored some goals and other players have had their moments. But I think Trossard's the one I would say has been playing out of his skin, give or take.
he's been our best attacker
You're the
this
attacker I
season.
got least energy for, but now you're injured.
Yeah, Trossard's been our best attacker this season. He
Let
has
me
been.
ask you this as well. Sorry to cut you, but like on the topic of Saka, yeah, like, do you think? Because I think obviously I'm not talking about those that have positives about him and negatives and constructive criticism. I guess I'm thinking, but I do think him, and I do think Odegaard, and I do think Gyökeres obviously adjusted expectations. I do think they're getting scapegoated a bit. Like it's gone from something over there to something else. But like, where do you stand on those 3?
You said Gyökeres, Odegaard, and who?
Saka, because I think Gyökeres, obviously, you can have criticisms about Gyökeres and if he's the guy and things like that. I know I do as well, and I think every Arsenal fan. But the man's just signed for us, just come back from injury, and it's like you're expecting fireworks. I think the same with Odegaard. I don't think Odegaard's been amazing, yeah, but particularly in the start of games, he's looked good. Like he's been okay. He's trying to get minutes in the legs, but I think people are nitpicking him. And Saka, I understand the frustrations, but it's like people are like, mainly social media, it's like the way people are in my comments, like you would think Saka is stinking up, like proper stinking up the gaff, like Saka in Isaac at this moment in time.
Yeah, I
And
think
then look at what you got here, and Nketiah is better than Gyökeres. You don't even believe that, but go on, Jess. You don't believe that.
With Gyökeres, I think Gyökeres is probably the least of our problems. And the reason why I say that is because to be honest, I just think we look better with a false nine. And as long as we have one available, we'll probably be okay. We just don't feed the striker. And I don't actually think that that's on Gyökeres at all. And so I think he's being scapegoated because it's just an easy target. He was a big signing. People are giving us like, they're trying to banter us over it. He's the least of our problems. You could put Gabrielle up front or Calafiori and we'd probably be okay. We don't play with a striker for real. Like, it's really not that deep, so it's whatever. And honestly, I think at a certain point, Arteta will Gyökeres will slowly go to the bench. I just think once Kai comes back
I
and
think they're already just, man.
Jesus is back. It's just a matter of time. He's really not our biggest problem. Odegaard just got back from injury, and he's pretty much been out the entire season. Don't know what you guys want him to do, but you hate him, so I have nothing else to really add to that one. With Saka, though, he's pretty much been playing since the moment Nani got injured against Man City. And I think he hasn't really got going. Yeah. I'll be honest. I don't think he's really got going. Of course, he's always going to pitch in with GA, but I can't remember the last time I felt like he was in a run of form. And he's had more than enough time to get into a run of form. Because again, the Man City game, when was that? That was like October or something like that. It was a long time ago. It was one of our first 4 games, and we're well into the season now. So I think with Saka,
you're even calling Saka greedy for not squaring it to Gyökeres, bearing in mind he scored Brentford.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, but this crosses into Agendaville for me.
Yeah, to me, it's
if you
not
don't
even
score,
about
draw him
that.
out, he bagged.
Yeah, for me, it's not really about him not squaring it to Gyökeres. It's just, I just feel like I'm not seeing the best version of Saka, and I'm not understanding what's keeping him from getting there yet, because he's had time. He hasn't been injured for a while now. So I'm not quite sure what it is. I just have to hope that in the second half of the season, I really do think we have to get 1, if not 2 of our attackers really on it, to really get going. And he's not really on it yet. So he had a poor performance against Chelsea. I'm not going to lie. That wasn't great, but we know he has every ability to turn it around. So he still has credit in the bank for me, but the standards are what they are. He's our best player. So it needs to look like it on a regular basis, I feel.
And I think you're right, because the attackers, obviously, I think Odegaard's feeling his way back in. Hindsight's a wonderful thing, but I think Odegaard is more of a minutes thing. I think Wolves would have been the perfect time to do the Eze out wide for Odegaard. I think prior to that, you're probably better off, because there's so many moving parts, just keeping Eze where he is. He's not doing fireworks, but he's in a good bit of form. Odegaard kind of comes on and mix and blend, and then we kind of take it from there. With Saka, he's down by his high standards. With Gyökeres, I did say in the summer, it'd be a miracle for him to get 20 league goals. We all know about, and you referred to it, the striker role and the false 9. I think he'd be lucky to get 15. I don't think he'd get 10, purely because I just think you're a spare part now. I think it's you, Kai Havertz, Marino, whoever's doing the business at the time, probably more likely to be Kai to start. That's where we're kind of going from it. I just think you're a tool. I think you're a tool to try and unblock low blocks. And the one thing I'd say that annoys me about Arsenal with Gyökeres is it feels like when he comes off the pitch, we start creating more chances for a traditional striker. So I don't know if they rate him. I don't know if there's still a bit of to-ing and fromming in that. I think everyone can see Gyökeres is never going to be the greatest technically. But no one can convince me that he has not got the capacity to bag. And I think the general theme is what I'll say, Jess, is what you said earlier, is that whether you're Gyökeres, Noni, Saka, whatever, Eze even, Odegaard, I know some people haven't been fit and some people are adapting. All of you attackers need to pull your fingers out. Every player full stop. Because the same way our defenders have been saving us, now we need them out of jail. We've seen 7 different centre-half partnerships. 7. Regardless, Regardless, we've seen 7. And even going back to the injury thing, since 2023-24, we've had 93 injuries.
Yeah. And I mean, that's a deeper issue that I feel like needs to be addressed, because we should not be getting this amount of injuries. It's actually insane. It's a nasty cycle. One of the worst cycles that we have is the one between Timber and Ben White. It's dark. Like, Ben White has to play the whole season because Timber tears his ACL. Then Ben White is playing on a bum knee for an entire season. Then Timber comes back, then he has to play an entire season.
He's got a great knock as well, playing on it.
Yeah, I'm like, what is going on? So that's obviously a problem. But yeah, I'm really looking at the attackers as like, are you going to take the bull by the horn and make sure we don't lose games when we concede? Because at this point, for like the last 2, maybe even 3 seasons, the defense has allowed you guys to be able to score 1 goal,
and just
1,
keep it moving.
and just keep it moving.
Even
At
like
some
against
point,
Chelsea, if Timber or Gyökeres bag, we get out of there, and for some fans it would paper over cracks, but you obviously get 3 points and you keep it moving.
mhm,
So it
yeah,
goes back to what you're saying.
100%. And the amount of like, we're like, okay, Gabrielle is one of our biggest, like, big game players, score big goals. Or we're talking about Trossard or even maybe Marino. I'm looking at names like Odegaard, Saka, Eze, Gyökeres to be names that start to kind of push to the forefront. And that's why yesterday I think was kind of like a positive thing for individually for players like Martinelli and Madueke, because they pretty much created something out of nothing. Those are not
All the
goals that
season
we
contender
normally
for
score.
Noni.
Exactly. We don't score those types of goals. They were surprising because they weren't patterns of play, corners, or close tap-ins. They were moments of magic where guys just backed themselves and said, fuck it, I'm just going to shoot. We need more of that.
Do
We're
you
going
think
to need
Noni's
a lot
delivered?
more
Do you
of
think
that.
Noni's like finally arrived now? Like, do you think he's a better option than Saka? Do you think Saka should be dropped ahead of him? That's what a lot of people are saying on socials.
Well, he was when he got injured against Man City, he was in a good vein of form. He just had not gotten the GA, but he looks to have just kind of like picked up where he left off. He has 3 goals in the Champions League. He's looking good. He's taking on his man. He's positive, so I do think we're really precious about certain players. I can be really precious. You guys know I'm really precious about Odegaard, but right now, whoever's playing the best and is going to give us the best chance of winning games, I think needs to be playing. And if Saka's not playing at his best, then why would we bench somebody that's in form? Because if you have 3 goals in your last 3 Champions League games, are you not in form?
2
So I
even.
don't know. Huh?
2 even, I swear. And do you know what? Yeah, obviously the goal he scored was great. Obviously for the strike, obviously because somebody tried to barge him. He's kind of done up 3 players, and I've made what you was alluding to. I like it. I think when Noni signed for us, obviously there was a lot of heat. Since he signed for us, I guess the fans all around the world, the manager, the players, the fans at the ground, he's looked like a confident boy in it. But like you said, he ain't got the GA. And if you look at him at
Yeah.
Chelsea, he does arrive into the boxes. So I'm not going to say that his first goal wasn't the most amazing one for me, if that makes sense. But when I look at his Bayern Munich finish, and obviously his second goal yesterday, he could have had it actually, but his second goal, that's your bread and butter. Like, you're not any prolific goal scorer, even Trossard, he's probably our most prolific. You're not like, if you score 10, 15, 20 goals, it's not all going to be bangers and screamers. Like, it's them simple kind of tapping. So keep going on the end. To be fair, you know what, Arteta, I know you're a long way removed from your Manchester City days, yeah. And we've spoken before. I always describe Eze as a Swiss Army knife, but I'm focusing this actually on Eze and Madueke. Everyone knows what you did with Raheem Sterling and Sane at City. I need a bit of that now. I need that because maybe you've seen that already. Like, he is arriving late into the box. I wouldn't drop Saka, sorry, for Madueke at the moment. I've got no problems if he's rotated in for Wolves. Everton away, I'm going with Saka. Crystal Palace in
Yeah,
the
I
cup
would
final,
too.
I'm going
I
with
would
him.
too. Yeah.
Saka's probably starting the next 7 games for me. I'm not gonna cap if he's fit.
I would definitely go with Madueke for Wolves and give Saka just a little bit of rest, because even when he came in against Bruges, I was looking at him really closely, and I was like, he's kind of limping. He's
I
looking
can't
a
lie, I
little
didn't need to come on
frank.
yesterday, man.
Yeah, so it is what it is. But ultimately, I feel like Arteta's biggest test right now is figuring out how to put out strong enough lineups and get points on the board, with players needing to come back and get minutes, players needing to rest. That's so hard. Multiple competitions. It's a lot. So when I don't think Arteta's done much wrong this season. I think he's had some maybe bad moments, but I think he's done well enough in a situation where, like, he's been up against it, up against the ropes at points, like, where it's just like, what is going on? So yeah, but Madueke is doing well right now. And this is coming from somebody, I know I've seen people in the comment section like, where is the apologies? Listen,
No, but you shouldn't have to apologize because you
yeah,
said, and we had the same thoughts. Simply don't understand the signing of Madueke.
I
Don't
didn't.
understand that he's not that
I
there's been
didn't.
others, but we understand the fact that he's Chelsea. There's a bit of obviously potential. But one thing people, well, I definitely said he's not as bad as people are making out. Is it
Mhm. Yeah.
frustrating? Yeah, there's therefore something there. It was more Arteta likes these unfinished articles, and again. I can speak for Jess as well, and the majority of people in this world, whether you think Madueke was a great signing or fucking shit, most normal people are not signing those petitions and doing all of that nonsense. Like, and it's not going
Yeah.
to change anything. So we're happy for Noni. Whether this is a marker,
Same.
it's another thing. Like, if you're a squad player, show us that you are doing your thing, but we need more from everyone and our whole collective attackers, which I can't lie, I have to put at the feet of Arteta because
Mhm.
before we talk about Madueke, Eze, GYOKERES, whoever the hell walked in, that has been one criticism. We don't, as much as we've scored 90 to 100 goals, we've been critical of how we're going to attack, how we're going to find new ways. And to
Yep.
be honest with you, from Newcastle to Sunderland, we kind of found a way about that. It does feel like we're going back to handbrake up. I felt that with Chelsea. I'm not saying it's wrong, Arteta, but I feel sometimes you just have to go for it. And I feel sometimes Arteta doesn't change enough.
That's
He's
fair.
like, he'll always try and keep the same system.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's just,
Sometimes you got to pivot, man.
yeah, and we just need to, I think, honestly, in the title race, because I'm like, this is just so like, you guys, it doesn't have anything to do with him getting engaged. You guys are so weird. Shout out to them, by the way. But yeah,
Big
I
up
just,
them, man. We love to see it, Sax.
but yeah, I think that you know, I think we're going to need at least one big away win or something, to push us over the edge. I really do. And
You don't
we
think
haven't,
Newcastle we already had that?
no,
We
I
beat
don't think,
United as well.
I don't think it's not gonna be one of them. It's gonna have to, we're gonna have to take a bigger scalp, I feel. Anybody that's in form, I feel like we haven't done well. Chelsea were in really good form right before we played them. We couldn't beat them. Aston Villa, most informed team next to us, couldn't beat them. Liverpool were in form, couldn't beat them. We're gonna have to beat one of these teams and push us over the edge. Like,
Pardon me. I hear that.
yeah, I know, like, law of averages and all that kind of stuff. Like, if you do this the same, no, I think there's moments in a title race where you just have to kind of force it. We're not a forcing it type of team, so they're gonna have to pull. They're gonna have to do it. They're gonna have to, you know, they're gonna have to
But you
push
make
a
it
little
this.
bit
Eze
more.
needs to be dropped. He's living off that hat. He's been a passenger.
Well, he was dropped. He was hooked and then he was dropped for the Bruges game. I think he played a lot of minutes and he did look leggy. But also, like, the weird thing about this team is that they kind of pick and choose when they want to have good performances. Like, they were tired after I thought they were tired after Sunderland, had the little break in international break, turned around and had great performances against Spurs and Bayern, and then looked like shit against Chelsea. So I don't really know what's going on with them, but I do think Eze just needs like maybe a game or two, like, to sit down. But Eze was, to me, at fault for the Aston Villa goal. That first one, I solely blamed it on him. I thought that was it.
Nah, you can't solely blame that on him.
Yeah, I can, because he
You
fell asleep at
how
the back
how
post.
how?
You know why? Because
He's
I
not
feel
followed
like,
his runner. It's come over from the right hand side. We've not followed our runner. There's several errors. Sorry, Eze should be following his runner, but solely,
no,
I
but
disagree with the word
crosses
solely.
crosses come into the box, but if he, like, what are we supposed to do? Like, you can't stop every single cross, and to be honest, if that was Zinchenko, you guys would have no
I
qualms
still wouldn't
about
just blame
blaming
him. And
him.
then what's our centre half doing? They're playing people on side. But again, as much as I can
You need
criticize
to
them,
follow your
we've
runner.
got ourselves into this mess, sorry, because of the injuries and whatnot. And I must admit, Arteta, hindsight's a wonderful thing, and it's unfortunate that it's another game against Villa. Jess, you've probably seen it on your platform. The minute we lose to Emre, people start doing all that foolishness. As dumb as this is going to sound, yeah, and hindsight's a wonderful thing. Even though I did say it going into it, I didn't think Villa was the game to complicate things. And you're right, he should have tracked his runner. I'm not absolving him for any of that. I don't think it was a football game. I don't think it was a chess match. This is a typical English 12:30. Who
Ah,
kind of wants it more? And I actually felt sorry for our boys because in many ways we did okay. It's just we look spent, man. Like that's why I say the Villa game is just one where the gaffer, the players, everybody just has to hold. We look spent, like, and the,
well,
the, the
the
thing that made it more frustrating is I've never seen so much analysis on us being disappointed for conceding the second goal. But...
Yeah, well, we get micro-analyzed. Like, we could, I'm not to be gross, but like we can't do anything. It's like we do anything and we get criticized for it. We could wipe our ass after we take a shit and they'd be like, yeah, but yeah, do you really need to be wiping your ass right now? Like, yeah, like, come on. You know, like, I don't give a fuck about that. I honestly didn't really care about that at all. I wasn't
you
thinking
do your
about
head in listening to that, man.
Yeah, the one thing that I can say for sure that I feel like in the Chelsea game and in the Villa game in particular that stood out to me was
I blame Arteta for Chelsea. I'm just going to throw that out there, but go on.
Well, okay, so there's a 5 to 10 minute period in both of those games after we scored where we had multiple opportunities right after that to score the second goal.
100.
Those teams scored first. We equalized. 5 to 10 minutes, we had them on the ropes.
Football decided in both ends. We haven't defended or done what we needed to do well enough.
That, you come away probably against Chelsea with the win. You come at least away from Villa with a draw. But because we don't score the second goal, we don't put foot on neck. We don't do those things. So
felt to us.
Yeah, we don't do it. And so then we end up, the game gets harder from there. The game gets so much harder from there when you're, holding on to a 1-1 instead of having a 2-1, because City, like Chelsea, are demoralized after that.
Bayern and Chelsea, off the top of my head, and Newcastle, the only times I've kind of seen the opposite of what you're talking about.
Yeah, like.
But that's why I think it's the gap. I'll be real. I think obviously the players take responsibility. The Arteta is not on the pitch, but there's some games I feel are both the manager and the players. There's some that I feel solely on the players, and there's some that I feel solely on the manager. First half against City at the Emirates, that's on you. Second half against Liverpool, that's on you, Gaffer. Aston Villa's, both of them. The players obviously fucked up here, but Chelsea is on the manager because I genuinely feel, and I'm not saying it's necessarily wrong, but you haven't had, there's minutes in the legs. You ain't got your first choice defenders. Chelsea's form, I actually think away from Arsenal, Chelsea, Maresca and Arteta, they're from that Pep Guardiola school of thought and they're friends. So I think he's mind games in himself and overthinking on top of that. I genuinely feel watching the game again, he went into it very conservative. The way the game went out, where Chelsea, what's it, like a house on fire, that made him double down even more. 10 men. He doubled down when we went 10 men. I thought, oh, we're in trouble here, Gaffer. Now, granted, we could have went gun-ho and lost, and I'd be a hypocrite. I'd ask questions, but I just feel from the Newcastle game to Sunderland leading up to the Chelsea game, the Arteta that I've seen in that period, you would have smelt blood and went for it. I think you were shook. And again, we got drawn. We could have nicked it at the end. I guess it could be better. It could be worse, but I have to call it as I see it.
I'd rather, actually, now that I'm actually deeping it further, like the Sunderland was the exact same thing as well.
15 minutes.
Trossard scored, and we had so many chances after that to put that game to bed. It's 3-1. It's done. You don't get the opportunity really for 2-2. And so I don't know. Were we so tired at Sunderland? Were we so tired at Chelsea? So tired at Aston Villa? Or was our mentality shook away from home and we don't have a killer instinct when we don't ride the wave? I
think it's the latter. I don't think it's a mentality thing. I think it's the latter of what you said.
Yeah.
Either way, it's not enough, innit?
It's not. It's not enough, because if you win one of those games, we're thinking so differently right now. I don't think if you're going to go up in a title race against City for real, which we are right now.
I don't look at the table, but I'll take your word for it.
Yeah. I think that you're not going to get a big gap, but you need something. Like you need a little cushion. We just needed to win one of those games, and I'm really disappointed that we didn't win not a single one of those games. And all of them to me were very similar. Poor first halves. All three of those games, poor first halves. Get ourselves back into it.
So Villa, Chelsea, and what's the last one?
Sunderland, Chelsea, and Aston Villa. Concede a soft early goal, kind of, like something uncharacteristic for us. Have a poor first half. Get ourselves back into it, have a moment of dominance, 5 to 10 minutes where we could put the game away or at least secure the additional goal to make sure that we don't drop all 3 points. And we concede, except for the Chelsea game, late goal. We concede late goal against Sunderland and Aston Villa. All
right, let me flip it then, Jess, yeah. And I know some Arsenal fans kind of do this thing, yeah, but one loss in 18, 19 games. If you were handed this in August and this platform, we probably would have taken it. So are we doing too
Mhm.
much? All things considered, injuries, schedule, in different form, players needing to bed in, the fact that, you know what, and you have to be healthy. Players and the gaffer can make mistakes. All of that considered, are we doing too much? I know we're not doing too much because doing too much gets you the league, but are we doing too much?
I think it's too much for me is not analyzing it and saying that we need to do better, because I ultimately still feel like we're in a really good position, a position that I definitely would have taken. But you can't unknow what you know. You know, it's like things change throughout the season, right? Like the Chelsea game is like the perfect example of that point.
But we should
It's
have moved to them, man. The
yeah,
last 3 years
exactly.
at the bridge, and I say this to you all the time, like the last 3 games at the bridge, we've been well now, the last three. I want a performance at Stamford Bridge. I don't
Yeah,
know what it is, but we keep fucking about at Stamford
yeah.
Bridge.
If
Them
you
man are shit,
show
you know.
if you show the 11 that we went out there with, we didn't have our two center backs in that game, that we were away from home at Chelsea. We know what our record is there. A 1-1 draw, you would have taken it before you saw anything, or not really taken it, but you could have like stomached that.
But
But because of the
what we saw, I'm not
context
having that.
of what we saw and the 10 men early, you really then it starts to change
And
things.
we
And I feel
needed
like,
a man sent off, really. If we're
yeah,
keeping it trill, that was the best
you
thing about the first half. We're like, hey, like the
yeah,
man can wake up now. Maybe it's one of them. Because I know when it's us with 10 men, we're just under pressure. We're surviving. We make it happen. I never
yeah,
saw none of that. That's why I think it's on the gaffer, because obviously the players got to take responsibility. But I think Arteta genuinely was on this. If you can't win, don't lose. I'll take a point at the bridge based on what we've done already. Let's just keep it moving. We might not win a battle. We're trying to win a war type of thing. And I know it's frustrating because losing and drawing feels unfamiliar as Arsenal fans. We all saw, what was it, in the summer, the North London derby or the fallout to losing that. So I can't be surprised when we're stumbling, fans are crashing out.
oh
But
yeah,
there's a lot of
I,
football to be played, man. But this is
yeah,
why I say to you, Jess, before I look at City, not to say we're the biggest and baddest, I feel we are our own best friends and we are our own worst enemies. And it
yeah.
needs to end in silverware, man.
Yeah, 100%. And like, that's why I'm saying, like, people doing too much. I think crashing out and saying it's over and all that kind of stuff, that's way too much. We're still very much so like in a good position, but you can't help but look at the context around how this has gone and not see the missed opportunities to put ourselves in a better
Isolated to
position.
the 90 minutes as well,
Yeah,
because in the games
that's
we
it.
fucked up in.
100%. So yeah, like we're still in a really good position and I still feel like we should be winning. But I also think there's also understanding that we're not, no offense to these leagues, but we're not playing in the Bundesliga, right? We're playing in the type of league where in the second half of the season will be everybody's cup final and everybody will bend over for
Well,
City.
already everyone's fucking got fine. Look at the way Chelsea got carrying on with themselves.
Yeah, I'm like, we have to remember that in the second half of the season, nobody's gonna play hard against City and everybody's gonna play hard against
Yeah, they're
us.
gonna
That's
roll
just
over for them, man.
exactly. And we're going up against a team that has in multiple seasons been damn near perfect in the second half. So that context will make you feel resentful for the missed opportunities, despite the fact that we're in a very good position. I feel like
Facts.
it's okay to be disappointed. That's all.
But that's the thing, Jess. Like, people can't be like disappointed about Sunderland, about Chelsea, about wherever we've effed up, but also give the players credit for everything else considered. It's either
Mhm.
white or black, and I think you're allowed to be frustrated. Me, I understand the fixture pile up, the injuries, the
Yep.
fatigue, all the. Sometimes it's just not your day. Mistakes happen. You throw all of those things in, the knock-on effect, the relationships being killed. You know, we and you have spent a good part of this video talking about the attackers. We all know about our defense. If we put that all in a bag, I'm here for that. But if you part that onto one side and then you show me what I believe I saw against Sunderland, against Chelsea, against Aston Villa, heavy on Aston Villa, do I think there was enough out there to win the game or give a better account of ourselves? 1,000,000%. I think you're
Yep.
a liar if you don't agree. I think you're doing the cop-out thing. Oh, but you would like, it's only one loss in 19 games. Yes, it is. It's one loss in 18, 19 games, but it's like 5 points dropped in the last 7 or 7 points dropped in the last 5 or some BS like that. Main thing is it's a mixed bag. What are we going to do with this? It's just
Yeah,
me.
100%. I think Burmese absolutely correct saying we need another January to May season like 2024. And that's why I
We
am
need time
like,
for that though.
yeah, I'm adamant about us needing a lead. We need to maintain a lead before we get to January. And then January to May is going to have to be like 23, 24. Can we do it? I don't know, but that's how we're gonna have to be, just like that. That's what it's gonna take.
For me, I'm not
City
even
won't
on the
win
lead
like
thing. I
9
think it's going to
games.
fluctuate. I think City might even lap us at some point. I just need to see
We need a lead
that consistency.
because
Yeah,
we're
but
not
we
good
we we've been
chasers.
the chasers. We've led for 200 days and ended up short. Do we really need a lead, or
I'd
do we
rather
just need to be in this fight? I'd rather
I'd
a lead,
rather us be
million.
in the lead than, because the last time we were in the lead, to me, the context around that was we have never been in a title race before. We basically just capitulated at the very end. We've never done it before.
Hope so,
But when we
Oli.
were chasing them, I felt like there was always like they're in front of us. If we're chasing City, they're not going to drop points. And when they drop points, if they do, we're not going to capitalize. I need us to
Second
be
half of
ahead.
the season, folks, when they get into that. But then, just do you think this is the same City? Because
It
many people
doesn't.
don't.
I don't think it's not a treble winning City, but it could be a league winning City. They don't have
They got a
to.
couple more L's in there, surely. So do
They
we.
do, but do they have less L's? Do they have more L's than we do? Because right
Yeah,
now,
yeah.
I don't, they're,
If we keep players fit, million
yeah,
percent,
well,
we're gonna give them their L at the Etihad. God, please, I'm talking
we
God,
have
please.
to. That's probably going to be one of the kind of like deciding games, And like I
Have they
said,
still got to go Anfield?
no,
Liverpool bend over
no,
backwards
yes,
for their
they
injuries.
do, because they beat them at the Etihad, right? But Liverpool ain't shit.
Yeah,
They
they'll bend over backwards for them, and
Yeah, talking
they
about
call
some
it City pool or
people.
whatever it is.
The only team that I know of that I feel like will actually play City, because they always think that they're amazing, is United. They're the only team. They may get bent over, but one thing I know for sure is they're never gonna be like, oh well, fuck it, City, we'd rather no. That
The
team always
London-based
thinks they're
United fans
going
rather City win it. The real tugs from Manny would rather us do it. But
yeah.
fuck all of that. We just need to take advantage and do what we need to do. What do you make of this question? Thoughts on the midfield? It's a little concerning without Rice. Not gonna lie, too easy to bypass. Not strong enough physically. I've got nothing to say, Jess. I've been saying I want 2 more midfielders. Everyone called me crazy. That's it.
Yeah, I think that, the thing with the midfield is that without Rice, we look lightweight, but I also don't think we use what we have to our advantage. It's like if you have a physical midfield, the contrast to that is being more technical. But it's like we don't use our technical,
So
we
then
don't
Zubi,
have
Odegaard, Eze. If Rice ain't
yeah,
there, we
we
have to
don't
pass
bop
someone
it
else.
around. We don't try to pass around them. We don't use our technicality. It's like we try to play the same way. And if you have the Marinos or whoever trying to do the, Rice winning the ball back, you just see Marino but he's like way behind, So
You need Kai. Kai's a better option to do that kind of stuff than
yeah,
Marino.
that's kind of my problem with it, is if you're going up against a more technical midfield, then maybe you want to be a little bit more physical to just take them out the game, kind of like what Newcastle has done to us in the past. But we just stay the same. So if you don't have Declan, go more technical, but we don't. We try to have Marino do his role and it doesn't work, and then we get bypassed. So I think that's more of a
Or
coaching
use
problem.
Norgard a bit more. But you
Yeah,
do have options. Whether they're good or not is another thing. But you do
yeah.
have options.
I feel like that's more of like a coaching problem than anything,
Speaking of coaching problems, what do you make of this question from Charles? If Gyökeres is failing, it is Odegaard and or Eze's problem, no one else. And also Saka to a certain extent. He seems to be used only as a space creator for others by pulling people out. I disagree. I think
Yeah.
Gyökeres, at some point, yeah, while I agree with that, at some point, you've got to just let your nuts hang in it. You've got to do that. And then I guess that filters into Mikel Arteta. And then I think that's also harsh. I can't really talk for Saka. But when Odegaard has played, injuries, permitting, he's tried to
He
find
was putting
Gyökeres.
the
Are they
ball
the
on the
same?
plate for Gyökeres in that Olympiacos game.
Yeah,
He
they've tried to feed Donny.
Yeah, they tried to feed him. Like, obviously, it hasn't happened a lot they've both been back for 5 minutes. I want to put that into remember, like they've been back for 5 minutes. But when they were both playing together for like that 3-game period, Odegaard put the ball on a platter for Gyökeres multiple times in
Exactly.
space. There was also a game where we played against, was it not Portsmouth or somebody like that, where Max Dowman put the ball into space for Gyökeres and he couldn't get space in
Was
between
it Port
him
Vale? Who did we play
and
in
a
the cup?
League Two teams,
Yeah, it was
Port
Port
Vale.
Vale. Yeah.
So I'm not trying to hear all that. Like, yes, we don't. There's also been instances where he hasn't done good enough. So I just think we don't know how to, like, he doesn't know how to play with us. and they don't know how to play with him. And ultimately, that's less of a, I don't think it's as big of a problem as people are making out to seem. I think we have enough options where if he's not working out, we can drop him and it is what it is. But for some people, it's really important. It's not to me.
Listen, I want Gyökeres to be the bad boy striker and everything like that. But if we kind of knew this was a reality in it, like I'm at the point, I just accept Kai, Gyökeres, Marino, Jesus, if fit. They're just gonna, you lot are the options in it. Like you lot are the guys. Whoever takes their chances, whatever. Let's just win some trophies. I think this is a question for Jess and DG. Who you starting on the left? I'm gonna kind of add to that question and say everybody's fit. Who's your left winger then?
Everybody's fit. Trossard is the fucking starter right now. He's the best. He's been the best this season. I think that probably says more about the other players than anything else, that they've just lacked something. I think we're learning that Madueke needs to play on the right. So I think I want to take him out of those conversations. But when it comes to like Eze, Trossard, Martinelli, right now I'm choosing Trossard. But I think there's still scope for like Eze to do well in that position. He just hasn't played in a minute, you know, so I don't want to be too harsh on him. Jesus can play there as well. But I actually prefer him. I prefer him in the 9.
You don't want to see him and Gyökeres link up with Saka?
Not really. If anything, if I was to choose a front line right now, and I was like, what's the vibe I want to go for? If I want to go for the most vibe, I'd probably go Jesus, Eze on the left, and probably Madueke on the right. So
I was with you until I heard that. That's it. I think you said Madueke. That must be how Americans say Saka, but
I love Saka, but Saka's not going to give the most vibes, like, you know. But
no, man, Saka's on vibes, man. I'm sorry, Madueke is great.
Let's be serious. Saka's better than Madueke, but if I'm just
Saka nutmeg, man.
If I want to enjoy what I'm watching, I said what I said.
I hear it, but I'm a big fan of the way Saka rolls his man, wins a foul. Maybe I'm a bit biased.
That's fair. That's fair.
Slightly, if we're talking vibes, we'd need Max Dowman to be fitting probably him off the right, innit, really. Talk to me about Jesus, though, man. Can I interest you in buying some stocks? Are you here for this? Like, we're finally here, Jess. I told you we'd be here, innit? We've had a simple conversation, but
it's only a year.
My boy's back. Is he better than Gyökeres? Because many fans are agreeing with it.
Well, no, the last time that we spoke, I said that our best striker is still Jesus.
Which is the problem. It's probably Kai, to be fair.
Like, from a talent perspective, there is no doubt in my mind that the most talented 9 that we have is Jesus, even if he only scores 10 goals. He makes everyone better. He creates football. He's actually fun to watch. He does all that, like, instantly. It's like everyone knows how to play with him. Instantly. You saw it yesterday. Instantly, everybody knows how to play with him. Is he going to do
it more than Gyökeres?
Yeah, the way that they're jumping up in front of him. The way they're jumping up in front of him, Timber jumping up in front of him, trying to take I think so. But listen, with Jesus, it's all about how long are we going to have him for? You know, I don't want to get
5 games are going to be special, man.
Yeah. So, but while he's fit, I think he has a bigger role to play than maybe people think, because Gyökeres is not really, you know, and Kai is not fit.
That, look at the amount of games. Like, people love. This is one thing that pees me off about football fans, Jess. Yeah, like especially Arsenal fans. They say, "Oh, we want to compete for 4 trophies." You've got, this is your squad. Whether you like the players or not, you have to lean on all of these, or we have to demand Arteta does.
Yeah, I think we need to. Every single player is important to this team, whether you like it or not, and they're all going to play some role. This is an incredibly long season. We're meant to be going in multiple competitions.
For the super chat team.
Yeah, and every single player is talented. You know, I really think that we get too stuck in player FC and we try to diminish players. Ultimately, it's about what's best on the day. You know, some days
collective comes first, everything else is secondary.
Absolutely. So yeah, but Jesus for me is somebody that can give us something, and I think he makes our wingers better. And we play a little bit different and more fluid with him in there. So he's going to get used. Arteta loves Jesus, by the way. He may not be everybody's favorite, but Arteta loves him. So he's going to play.
I keep telling, man, it's a World Cup year. Don't sleep on the Brazilians. There's no surprise. He's doing his thing. Like, just stay fit, win us some shit, go to the World Cup. And I don't want to get onto him, but fair, like Berta's got something for you in it. Like it's been nice having you at this football club. It's mad though, because we're talking about which one's the better striker. Some people would ask Kai Havertz, some might say Marino, some might say Jesus, as you said. They're all good players and they've all gone through patches, but neither are quite as clinical as we need them to be. And obviously, you throw in the GYOKERES conundrum. Arteta, I need you to solve that, because striker has been something. If we can marry what you do tactically with the defense, with the midfield when it's all on song, and somehow that number 9 is consistent, what the conversations and streams we're doing and what we're doing in Islington in May 2026 is unheard of. We ain't seen it for about 20 odd years. What you saying for Martinelli as well, man? You wanted my guy so just, man.
Listen,
The big nights, you know. The big nights. Belgium and that.
He's done well in the Champions League as an impact. I'll say that for sure.
Has he changed your mind? Could he be a squad player now? Is that his thing?
That's at the most. That's what he is. So,
do you agree with Klopp about him being the talent of the century?
No, I don't. There's plenty
Why
of
do you
players
disagree
that are
with
more talented than him.
A legendary manager like Klopp?
Klopp didn't want Salah either. Klopp didn't want Salah either. So
yeah, he wanted Julian Brandt, to be fair.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, I just feel like Martinelli, like I said, he has a great mentality and he's doing well in a specific role. You know, so
yeah, that's his thing. Like him and Trossard, your rotationary options. Obviously, we hope Trossard's fit. Trossard is taking his chances. I've told you this before. I don't know how you are, but I'm still doubling down on left wing, because throughout this year we've spoken about Eze's capabilities. Jesus, obviously, if Trossard's fit, we both agree he's starting, and I'm missing out names, but there's no one I throw my hat on. Like we all know, Saka is number 1 on the right. Yeah, Madueke could come in, but there's a hierarchy there. Up front, it's a bit mixed. I think we're missing a trick. Couldn't tell you who, couldn't tell you what. Don't know for all the Semenyo stuff. That's another question before I get to this year. Do you think we'll act in January? Because there was a point, I would have said, if you asked me that, maybe I use this term like lightly, but maybe 3 weeks ago, if you was like, DG, do you think we're signing anyone? I'd be like, just no. You saw what Berta did. We're not moving for no one. We're not doing anything. Then there came a point where, and I want a midfielder anyways, but then there came a point where I'll be like, Jess, I think we need a 6. Anything happens to Rice, we're in trouble. Now, I think you might need a midfielder. You might need a defender. If you can get involved in Semenyo, why not? Berta, is there something we could do in terms of loans? Where are you at, though?
I don't think we'll do anything in January, unless something catastrophic happens.
God forbid.
But I think if we could just get some of our players fit, that as bad as it sounds like a new signing, we have a big squad with lots of talent. We just need people to come back. But that's how I kind of feel about it.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I think when we've died for players like this January, the minimum, or remember when we lost out on top 4 to Spurs, when we've died for players, we've not moved. Now, granted, we could do things differently, but nobody wants to buy people in January anyways. We did what we needed to do in the summer, probably hoping that people are back by the turn of the year. Unless an absolute madness happens, I can't see us acting.
Yeah.
But then we had the madness in January of this year and we didn't. Fair enough, how they view strikers, and it probably would be in the defensive ranks at this moment, might be something different, but I didn't hold my breath. Speaking of defensive ranks, though, I know it weren't the best. Big up Norgard, I think he did all right, but it was hardly a game where you got to see his true capabilities as a centre half. Where are you at with him? Because I actually been calling for this in the Prem. Needs must type of thing.
I think Norgard needs to be used smartly to give certain players rest that we absolutely cannot live without. Like, we cannot live without certain players for long periods of time. So Arteta needs to trust him more. And yes, like when we rotate, obviously, like no one's going to be as good as Declan. But would you rather have Declan fit for the big games like that we need him for? Or do you want it running him into the ground against Bruges, whatever? So I think he did really well at center back yesterday. Not the best competition. Think if we have to play the high line and somebody is running in behind, we're cooked. But ultimately, he did good on the day and needs to be utilized more. I think he'll be maybe used against like Crystal Palace. He probably will be maybe even get used against Wolves. It's important, because we cannot live without Zubi and Declan. We can't.
And Zubi looks spent. That's another thing on Zubi, because we're both two lovers of him. I think people are doing too much about our existing players that have come in, that have been at the club, or people that have been brought in. Yeah, I do think for Zubi though, the
Mm-hmm.
typical kind of, and sometimes the whole team has stunk up the gaff, but the typical English games where it's end to end and you ain't got time and it's crazy, I do think he struggled in that. And I relate that to people say he's not a big game player. He did okay against City for what it's worth, which with Pep. But then you look at Atletico Madrid, you look at Bayern, he stood tall. But where are you at with Zubi?
Maybe unpopular opinion. I think he's been brilliant. I think from a
He'll show them. Don't worry, Jess. He'll show them
yeah, from
soon.
a first season adapting when I thought that the adaptation period was going to be a little bit like up and down. I think that he's had big moments that people don't take stock of. I think that he does a lot of really important work. And yes, like some players, I think here's the thing, there's just some players that no matter what the game is, what's going on, they're just not going to be able to beat certain people in a physical battle. And I think we have a hard time accepting that. You know, like if
That's why I
it's
want a next physical midfielder or to utilize Norgard for that kind of thing.
yeah, I look at it as like, oh my God, he got beat or he got physically like, well, one player is 5'10" and whatever, 170 pounds. He's going up against somebody who's like 200 pounds and 6'2". You know,
And that's
he's
what his
always
game.
going to lose the physical battle against these players, you know. So, but I think with Zubi,
And he
there was
does get stuck
already
in.
yeah, there was already a preconceived notion from him that he was going to be weak and slow because he came from La Liga. And so they're looking for confirmation bias. But until Zubi loses a physical battle against somebody that he should not, I'm not going to be upset by that because whenever he's up against
And they look
somebody
at him
that he
like
should be able to
he's
get,
that guy that was here before. I won't say
yeah,
his
I'm
name.
like, of course he's going to lose some battles. Like he's not going to be able to beat Andre Onana. Not Andre, sorry, Amadou. I feel bad for calling him that.
You.
Yeah, but he's not gonna be able to beat him. One guy is 6'6" and one guy is 5'10". You know,
That's
the
why I
only
want a
way
next midfielder so that we can. Okay, Zubi, you're getting bullied out there. Physical man, even to the point where like the guy that was at this club, people move. Obviously, he declined, but he was a good player away from off the field. But people move like that guy for all his alleged physicality. He wasn't getting bypassed. He weren't giving the ball away. He weren't getting as mad as it says. Maybe not even out muscled, but just he wants a million years on the ball, pockets getting picked. Like there's a lot of rose tints. Clearly, the club off
yeah,
field stuff. They wanted to have him and Partey together. Like it never happened. I just
yeah,
want another six. I don't. I think we missed the trick there. But I don't know, Jess, man.
yeah.
It
There was
feels like
plenty
we've
of
spoken
times
about a lot.
where other players were getting whooped. It just depends on if you like them a lot. I think some people
100%. People
get
don't like
a
Odegaard, they're on
pass.
him.
Yeah,
People
people
don't
get a
fancy
pass,
Zubi,
but
they're on him.
I remember plenty of times where said player was getting mollywopped in that midfield. And
Exactly.
it happens when you're not, because he was not a physical player. I'll be real. I think that his best qualities were on the ball. And I
Maybe
think
in
Zubi does well.
2020, not in the last 2-3 years. Could you be talking to me about physicality? You might have shown it in 1-2 games, but on a consistent
Yeah,
basis,
that
no.
was never his thing. But yeah, we do need a 6. I don't know if we're gonna go do that in January, but I think it all depends on how bad things get because where we're thin at DM and we're oddly now thin at center back, you know. So those are the two
Whole
positions.
defensive rank, slightly.
Yeah, I'm looking at it like actually, let me ask you, like they talking about defense. What is your thoughts on what's going on with Miles?
Calafiori's taking his chance, isn't it? Like it's the reality. It's like your bubble's been popped, in it. Like obviously you done well last season, Real Madrid, PSG. You're playing, you're living a movie. England call up. It's just the reality of being a footballer. I understand he's upset, but a 40-50 million man is always there's a bit of a political thing, rightly or wrongly. He's always going to play ahead of you. Calafiori's grabbed his chance, like with Timber. It's just a that thing. Now Miles Lewis Skelly, just for me, is in that weird scenario where, as much as we talk about match fitness, we're kind of having to plug and play you, which is why I'm happy that on the face of it, he's playing 2 games this week. I'm not stressed about Miles Lewis Skelly. I know there's rumors about he needs to go on loan and all of this stuff. This is the reality of playing for a big club. If Calafiori's form ever drops, he knows he's got Miles Lewis Skelly. If Miles Lewis Skelly regains that, you know you've got him. if I was concerned about any Haaland talent, be Wanyeri, just because if we do see you as a centre mid, you're not going to play ahead of Odegaard or Eze. You're not going to get in ahead of Merino, who has a good partnership with Zubi. You're not going to get in ahead of Kai. I'm not going to see you get some minutes on the left. I don't think your long-term's right wing, but you're not going to play ahead of Saka. Madueke is coming for 50 million. And although Diamond's picked up a knock, he's playing ahead of you. So I'm not concerned about Miles Lewis-Skelly, even when you look at no 2 seasons are the same, and he entered this established, didn't it? But you kind of look, this is around the period, give or take, November now. This is when he started getting a look in last year. So, like, where we at? And you know what the saddest thing is, just if he started number 1, yeah, people would say, oh, he needs rest, man. He's going to get injured. I feel sorry for him on a selfish thing. That's the last I would say, because that O'Reilly brother's taking his chance in it, and he looks like he's going to be the one playing for England at when you man's country in 2026. Where you at with Lewis Kelly? Concerned? I'm more concerned about when
I'm not actually concerned. I'm looking at his performances and feeling
he's looking
a little
rusty,
sad, like for him, just because it's like I can only imagine. Like I feel like sometimes we don't think about it, like put ourselves in their shoes. Like when you have like a breakout season that you didn't even anticipate, that you've been praying for, and you finally get it, and then the next season you come in kind of slow. The older guy is there now. It's a World Cup year. You're probably, people are probably like, there's going to be plenty of World Cups for you. You're fine. But like, you're thinking,
you don't want to hear that.
You're not, and you don't want to hear that because you think you're arrived already. Not saying like,
and you got a new deal as well.
You got a new deal. So I'm looking at him, and I'm looking at a player that does not look confident, and I can understand why your confidence would be a little zapped right now, because no matter what people are telling you, you're gonna get your chance, you're gonna get your chance. When you get it,
like that.
You're like, fuck, like it's my chance, and like I'm scared, I'm nervous now. People have clocked me a little bit too. They know what I'm trying to do because they've scouted me, they know what I'm on.
Yeah, you're a marked man now, you're not an unknown entity.
Yeah, so I think it's more that, and every time he gets cooked, I feel like it gets worse, so because he got barbecued a couple times.
Bayern Munich, he struggled, man.
Yeah, so I love Miles. I'm not worried about him from that, but I just watch him. I'm a little sad because he was obviously our shining light last season, and it's got to be.
Have we given up on him playing in midfield? Yeah, he took too long. Yeah, I have. At least for now.
Yeah, under Mikel. Yeah.
I don't know. Do you know what? It's gonna sound mad. I would play him, but if I was to be honest, I see why he wouldn't play him there. Because if you go to, like, obviously the majority things he needs to do is improve 1v1 traditional kind of defendership, right? If you go to sleep at fullback, you're gonna go to sleep in the middle of the park, and that is where Arteta is. The most overthinking goes on. I actually think the same applies to Wanyeri. Away from physically needed to develop consistency, all of that jazz. It's off the ball. Like I always say on my videos, 1 year, if there's one thing you can do, go to Odegaard and say everything that Arteta demands of me on the football pitch, teach it to me. In the 10th minute, I have to be here. In minute 75, I've got to be there, because that's Mikel Arteta's thing. If you're educated and smart enough off the ball, you're gonna play in it. So it's techie, but at the end of the day, the flip side just is we've seen when we're relying too much on these young players, like you man have to play and stuff. So at least these guys, as you said, he's been getting barbecued a couple times. At least these man look like kids, and we're not living or dying by that. So
yeah,
I would say,
yeah, for sure. And like Rude One Star said, Wanyeri actually looked good yesterday, I thought, when he came up.
Excited.
And the thing I love about Ethan is that he backs himself. When he's confident, he takes the shots, and that's what makes him a good player.
Enough for you, though? We rarely see him on the pitch, and granted,
yeah, I feel like that's more what it is, that I haven't seen him out there that often, but I feel like most times he thinks to shoot, and he should continue to think to shoot. I think the difference between the Bruges game and other games is that Nani shot it every time that he got it. He shot every time he got it.
Should have had a hat trick. Is unfortunate.
Yeah, and if maybe Martinelli had shot more, he may have got more goals. We need to take more shots, so I like that Ethan takes shots, and I want that to continue, so yeah. But Wanyeri's a really good player, and so is Miles. I'm not worried about them. It's just sad to see like Miles clearly like struggling with a little something, but I'm not worried about him leaving or agitating or anything like that, if that makes sense.
Exactly, and
you know.
and you know what? In hindsight, maybe if Calafiori had this level of consistency and actually fitness and availability last season,
He
you
would have
never
been
get Miles Lewis Skelly there. But he does his thing. Who plays left back against Wolves? African Gooner. It's got to be him. It's got to be
fine.
Lewis Skelly because Calafiori suspended. Beyond that, you're probably looking at Timber if he's there to go over cross or Hincapié, man. So yeah, two more
Yeah.
questions, Jess.
Mhm.
Somebody asked, would you recall Fabio Vieira and Kivio, if I can remember
No,
correctly?
no.
I don't think we can, anyways. And someone's just said hi to you,
Uh-uh.
but yeah.
No, we don't need to recall. We just need to figure out what's going on in that medical department. I know we got rid of the soft tissue guy, or he left, or whatever, but that's a big problem. You know, it's not like we're getting contact injuries, except for Odegaard's was the only one that was a contact injury. Those are unfortunate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I think the rest of them
Trying to think.
were like Saliba's have been muscle, Gabrielle's
Gabriel's was
muscle,
muscle.
um, Mascaras is like an
Yeah,
ankle
jarred
thing.
his ankle or something.
Yeah, and I'm like, this is just
Saliba's pulled
happening
up in
about
training.
Kai as well, just fucking random shit. You know, Gyökeres, Trossard, none
Muscular.
of those. Yeah, none of those are like, oh, you crashed into somebody, and you know, it's not none of that. So, I think if we could figure that out, then we'll have the players and we'll be able to do what we need to do. I don't think there's any reason to call back players that from loan, you know. So
And I don't think we can recall Kivio anyways. It's one of them David Ryrie kind of loans, Hincapié loans, where like we've agreed to pay the money at a later date, innit? I wouldn't recall Fabio Vieira. I like the guy, but in terms of a footballer, but I don't think you can help us,
I
innit?
mean,
Like
why would you recall him when you can just
exactly.
play Ethan? Like it doesn't make sense.
Exactly. Like you can't help us. You just be a body, literally just a body. Mascaras was contact. I swear. Would you class that as
Was it?
contact? I don't
No.
remember it being contact. I remember him dealing with something and then he kind of went down. I could be wrong. Like there's been so
Yeah.
many injuries. You're gonna have to forgive us.
Yeah, but even if it like let's say it was and we can put it in the Odegaard, that's 2 and then the rest of them have been like, oh, you know, a thigh, a calf, a something, like they're all like
All different ones, but the sheer number is cause for concern. There's no way of shaping that, Arsenal fans. Again, I'm not blaming Arteta, but I know Arteta in the medical department got to take some responsibility, probably even the effing players, their international teams. And regardless of all of that, my thing, and I'll end it here, is we still got to win trophies. I don't care if the whole team's out. We still know
Oh
what we need
yeah.
to do. There's no, I don't
Yeah.
want to hear that this year, Jess. I don't want to, it's a fact. I don't want to hear that. Oh, if this one's fit. No, over the line business. I want my trophies. We
Yeah.
deserve it now. The players deserve it. You deserve it. I deserve it. The chat deserves it. Memory settings now, man. But it is concerning. It's scary. And it's only
Scary.
6 months into the season, if that.
Yeah. And I'm like, every day I'm like, so what's new? There's gonna be
Yeah, trust.
something. I'm like not even shocked anymore. So
Max is gone now. Madness.
yeah, it's just ridiculous. And Arteta spoke about it. He said like the cycle that we're in is really dangerous, and I'm like, it
You
is.
reckon, mate?
Yeah, we had the whole forward line was out, and then once they came back, the whole defense got injured.
And then it started like it don't matter where you play on the football pitch. And do you know what? Yeah, that's what concerns me about our midfield because, as you said, attackers have gone down, defense has gone down. The midfield is your bread and butter. Zubi,
That cannot go
Scary,
down.
Rice. If we
If
lose
we
Rice, I
lose
think
either-
you can forget winning anything.
Yeah,
That's the one.
I said that on Judge Mo's show too. Like we were talking, and he said, if you guys win something, who would be your player of the season? And I said Declan Rice, and he looked at me like I was crazy. And I'm like, I get it that most people would choose Gabriel or Saka. I just feel like Declan is the one player that I know for sure is going to step up in a big game, no matter what, and have like, I don't remember the last time that he had a bad performance in a big game. Like a big game. Like he's just the guy for us. He comes up with big goals. He comes up with big stops. I just feel like he's a top 3 player for us. Yeah. And there's no replacement for him. As good as Saka is, Nani will step in and do a job. There's not a single player in this team that can step up and do a job in Declan's position.
If anything happens to Declan, I'm just on this. I know there'll be scope for Marino and Zubi, obviously Kai. My port of call would be Norgard as well. My port of call is let's just do Vengable. Zubi, you're in the lone 6. Eze, Odegaard / Wanyeri.
You would have
you
to.
Man, do your thing. There's nothing else. Like
you would have to.
We're fucked. Like literally fucked.
You are fucked if Declan is out. And so yeah, and like Gabriel, he's probably second to me in that. But I actually have been very happy with what I've seen from Hincapié. I think he's been thrown into the fire, and I think he's done as well as he possibly could have done with center back partnerships that, you know, he's got one in one game and one in another game, changing left back, you know, big games away from home. I think he's done really well. I think he's going to
I'm not going to lie, Villa, I think he was rubby. I think everyone was rubby. I think he was rubby. But other than that, I've got time for Hincapié.
I think him and Timber were definitely like in trouble, but I don't think that was like due to them. I think he had like one really bad moment, right? Hincapié, right?
One's stepping up, one's dropping. I expect it, but
I think like last ditch tackle,
he's a warrior though, man.
In the game. I think again at some point the attackers, like, you could have appreciated their performances a little bit better if the attackers would just kick the ball in the back of the net every once in a while.
Now it's real. Like, you lot need to get goals, and when we're doing player ratings, we're like, wow, what's going on, sort of thing. Because if we isolate things, Noni yesterday, Martinelli yesterday, they're two of the best individual attacking performances, however many minutes they played in a hot minute. So we're gonna have to do things. Jess, have you got any content coming up today or whenever?
Yeah, I don't. I just got back from Portland and Miami, and I'm just trying to get like my life together and stuff. So probably not today, but you know, for the game at the weekend, we'll do a live stream for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why she doesn't do watch-alongs, but you can always guarantee Jess instant match reactions. It'll be on Twitter and YouTube and everything. Can't imagine you're not subscribed. It's in the title. Go and do that. Last question for me then. Score prediction. I'm going 4-0 Arsenal on obviously on Saturday.
Yeah, I think I'll go with 3-0. 3-0 Arsenal. I think we'll keep the clean sheet. And I'm going to go with a Nani goal. I think Nani will score again.
Saka. You know what?
And you think Saka is going to start, so.
Yeah. Saka, bro, I'm the Arteta, please start my guy on Saturday. Saka's back in. I said 3 in it. Saka's back in. GYOKERES is back in. Hincapié first goal for the club. F it. Because he was unfortunate and unlucky yesterday, man. So
he's growing into it. I really like
he's like
him.
Gabriel Paulista on steroids. Shit example. I know people are not going to be sold, but I've got all the time in the world for him.
Be careful. Be careful with that one. We don't want to.
No, man, he's a warrior. Gabriel Paulista was a warrior. Like, I never called him shit. It's if you move like Kivio and you're scared is when I start agendering dons. But you know, some of us rate them lot. Some of us rate them lot. We're not even going to do that. It's nice to see Martinelli and Gabriel Jesus thriving. And on that, we're going to leave you lot. Follow Jess. Jess, any last words? It's always a pleasure. Good to have you back.
Thanks so much for having me on Tano, and congratulations on all the things you're doing.
Oh, stop.
I feel like a proud aunt. I'm like, oh.
I feel like Saka. This year, I felt like Saka. It's like, oh. Getting debuts and shit, like, wow. But no, I'm trying to be like you, man. Like somebody said in the comments, she's the star. I'm just here, man. I'm here, man. Trying to be better than I was yesterday, man. But before I get all shy and stuff, I'm ending it. People, like, comment, subscribe, follow Jess's platform. Big up everyone watching it on the replay. Safe. Always just like, I think it's like